What's going on, everybody? We are back live. This is the Sports Drip Live podcast. We have technical difficulties. Not sure what was going on there. It was definitely over here on my end, but we're back. We're
As
live
always.
as always. Right? We're talking about Vince McMahon and the allegation. Well, I guess they're not really allegations anymore, right? I mean, they basically they did it.
Yeah.
WWE board. They did an investigation. They found out that he paid $12 million to four different women in a 16-year span to avoid sexual misconduct allegations, right?
Right.
So,
Made him sign NDAs so that they
yep,
don't come forward with it. Yep. The saga continues with Vince McMahon right now.
definitely, definitely. So, right before we cut off, we were talking about what women might be, what wrestlers might be. This is who I think it is, Candice Michelle. And yes, you're looking at what WWE once was when it was WWF, and this was the kind of skits you saw from someone like Vince McMahon. And this isn't even the worst of it, but
No.
this tells you everything you need to know, does it not, Ricky?
Yeah, it pretty much says it all. Like, the on screen character of Mr. McMahon is not too far not too far from the real Vince McMahon. That's for
Right.
sure.
Not at all.
No.
Um, but with that being said, man, that's basically it right there. I mean, and
I
and here
believe
we are, you know, being trolled by him because he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. He's still behind the scenes. They publicly announced that his daughter Stephanie is now the new CEO. But how much do you buy into that?
I don't buy it. I don't really buy it all that much. I think well, here's the thing. She is there. I think she's only there for for the public to see that she's running the company again. But really you gotta believe that Vince McMahon is still there in the gorilla position, in her ear, telling her because look, I mean, the simple fact that we have Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar again, that's a total Vince McMahon idea.
Right.
That's so and plus it also has to do with the injuries of Randy Orton and maybe Cody Rhodes to an extent, but everything that you still see on these shows, Raw and SmackDown, which I don't watch, because I just can't sit through that bore fest. But I do keep up with the product through other means. But everything that you see there, that's all Vince McMahon. All Vince
Yep.
McMahon's influence. He's still basically in creative in that position. But as far as like I mean not these segments, these allegations or whatever they are now. Um, yeah, man, I'm not sure what that means for Vince McMahon permanently. Will it finally bring him down? Will the board force him to step down permanently and for real?
Right.
Or is this just going to be another thing that Vince McMahon overcomes and he can show up on TV and flex and say he ain't going nowhere. 76 years old, he'll be there to 100 for all we know.
Right. I think that's basically what it is. We're not dumb. We know what's going on. You said it perfectly. You can't go if you're like you can't go and believe that he's officially out from the WWE and then see the product that they're pushing out. It's the exact same product that they've been pushing out since he's been there the entire time.
And we've been seeing him a lot more too since these whole things
Right.
came out. Yeah, like
Right.
like before you barely saw him. He was always in the back. But then now all of a sudden these things come on and you see him almost every week now. He didn't
Right.
show up on SmackDown last night after this came out. I mean, I guess he was advised not to. I mean, I guess he finally followed the advice of his lawyer, his attorneys, to not show up after this one because he sounded a lot more serious than the first one that came out.
Yeah. No, 100% a lot more serious than the first
Yeah.
ones.
Oh yeah. At
So I
least the first
mean,
one was it's claimed to be consensual,
yeah,
supposedly. This
right.
one right here,
No, this one is that basically him manipulating these women to do what he
yeah,
wanted.
yeah. So yeah, it could be anybody from that. It could be Candice Michelle, like you said. It could be anybody else. I can't remember more names that were there. There were a lot of women there, man. Because I remember they had like shows like a Diva Search and Tough Enough. So they brought in
Yeah.
a lot of women during that period. Candice Michelle was one of them. So and if you remember, she was being featured a lot, and then all of a sudden she disappeared.
Yep.
So
Hundred
it could be
percent.
some smoke there, smoke to that fire right there.
100%. You guys listen to the Sports Drip Live podcast. We had technical difficulties in the first half of the show, but here we are. We're back. And let's get into Ricky UFC 276. It was this past Saturday, And I mean, it was not a bad card, man, not a bad card, but it featured two title fights. One from the middleweight champion Israel Adesanya, going against Cannonier, and of course Volkanovski versus Holloway 3.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it, man. It's no quarrels about it. Adesanya, one of the best middleweights of all time. But right before we get into that fight, Ricky, we had Sean O'Malley and Pedro Munoz. What happened here, man? Because it ended up being stopped from an eye poke.
Yeah, man, that's one of the most unfortunate things that we see pretty often in the sport with those MMA gloves, those open finger gloves. You don't see this kind of stuff in boxing or anything like that because
Right,
obviously the but with these, man, these happen quite a lot, and it's very unfortunate because imagine just getting jabbed in the eye with a finger. That's got to suck horribly. And apparently this is what happened here. But before it happened, I would say that Pedro Munoz was actually looking better than I expected he would. It's just like I said, his strategy should in coming into this fight should have been going for the low kicks. Because that's what I think Sean O'Malley's Achilles heel is because Marlon Vera did that to him and
right,
gave him his first loss, his only loss in the UFC. So that's what Pedro Munoz was doing, for the first round and a half. He was just landing those leg kicks and he was winning I think he won the first round. I mean, I say he won the first round. And he was
right.
looking pretty good in there until this eye poke happened. So, um, yeah, unfortunate ending to this fight and an unfortunate beginning to this main card. Not a strong start for this main card, but it is what it is. It happens. It's part of the game. Hopefully, one day they can do something with these gloves to kind of try to prevent this from happening more. I've seen some ideas, some concept ideas for MMA gloves where the finger poking can be a lot less than what it is.
Yeah.
But it all depends on what the UFC does. If they ever do that sometime in the future. I mean, I don't see it anytime soon. But yeah, disappointing fight. Maybe a rematch. Maybe a rematch will happen down the line between these two.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do they run it back here? Do you think UFC, they make that a priority to get these two back in the cage and let them square it off?
Uh, you know, I would like to see it, but the thing about it is that Pedro Munoz, his eye, apparently he did suffer a real injury. Now he was being trolled and ridiculed for apparently trying to get out of the fight. I don't buy it for a second because I believe he was winning that fight so
Yeah,
far. The beginning, that first round and the beginning of that second round. So depending on how long it takes for him to recover from that eye poke, I think he suffered some kind of corrosion. I think it was some corrosion to the eye. It's gonna take some time to heal. Sean O'Malley, on the other hand, is ready to go. I think so. They could end up booking him in a fight pretty soon with someone else, or they could just wait until Munoz is back and then they'll run it back. So yeah, it could happen.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I was excited. I think UFC probably thought that this fight was gonna go Sean O'Malley's way, the way he's been just
Yeah,
defeating everybody that they put in front of him.
yeah, but he's beatable, and I can see his weakness. Those leg kicks.
Yeah,
You got to beat up those legs, and when you beat up those legs, he ain't gonna have much for you. He's gonna stand right in front of you, and you can do whatever you want to him. Because he relies on his quickness. His hand speed is one thing, and then him moving around and his quickness is another. So you
right.
take away one of those things, all he has is just the quick hands, and he won't be able to move as much. So then he'll be right there in front of you. So yeah, you can. That's yeah. The UFC is obviously trying to hype this guy up, trying to make him into the next star. But I see some flaws in this game, man. So
Yep.
you know what I mean.
100%. Ricky, talk to us about this fight here between Robbie Lawler and how do you say this guy's name? Because I struggle. You're way better at it than I am.
Barbarina. Oh,
Barbarina. So Barbarina versus Robbie Lawler. Ricky, what'd you see here?
it was an exciting back and forth, man. It's what you expect with Robbie Lawler's fights.
Right,
Even
exactly.
at his age of 40 years old, man. The dude is a savage in there. He goes in there and he doesn't try to win on points. He ain't trying to wrestle you. He goes in there, he tries to knock you out, and he tries to do it, in emphatic fashion. But it was not his night. He met his match in this fight. Barbarina is as tough as they come, man. He's also in your face. He was throwing a lot of punches too.
Yep.
He was just throwing just jabs, just like little light jabs, just constantly just throwing and just throwing punches, and then they eventually caught up to Robbie Lawler. So he caught him, and and that was it, man. But it was a good fight while it lasted. Very exciting to watch.
Definitely very excited to watch. You know, it ended at a knockout TKO, round two, 4 minutes and 47 seconds in the fight. So yeah, definitely a good fight, Ricky. What's next for Barbarina here?
Yeah, just whatever would be next for him. I mean, he's not. I mean, if I'm looking at the rankings right now, I'm trying to see where he's at. Um, yeah, just another fight, just another fight to get him up there, man, to try to get him into contention. You
Yeah,
know, he's mostly a brawler, so he probably, you know, they say with guys that fight that kind of style, you know, they have a short lifespan in the sport. So we'll see where he goes from here. See if he did good in this fight against an aging legend, and whoever they put him up next, we'll see where he goes from there.
what about Robbie Lawler? Do you think he's done, retires after this one, or do you think he has more
Yeah,
fights left in him?
hard to say, man. If he goes, if he leaves now, I mean, he leaves behind an incredible legacy in the sport, man. He's former UFC champion. Very exciting fight. Everybody's gonna remember the exciting fights that he's been in. So, if I mean, yeah, I mean, I think he has one fight left in him, and then we can judge from there what how he looks in that fight. So, and as when whoever they book him with next, if he decides to still fight, we'll see. We'll see what he does from there. We could judge from where he goes from there and see how he looks in that fight. You
Yeah,
know, for now, he fought a guy. He fought a younger guy who stood in the pocket with him and just was just in his face, throwing punches and put him down. So we'll see we'll see what his next fight will how he looks in his next fight, and then we'll judge. You know, should he retire? Should he keep going?
no, 100%. You guys listen to the Sports Drip Live podcast. Alongside my brother Enrique Contreras, my name's Jose Contreras. We were reviewing UFC 276, Adesanya versus Cannonier. We'll get into the next fight right now. I'm just waiting for it to slide up here on the show. But Ricky, the card overall, if you had to give it, if you had to rank it from 1 to 10, where would you give it?
I would probably give this card I give it a 6 or a 7, man. You know, on paper it was a stacked card,
Yeah,
right? I would say that the earlier fights, minus the opening fight in the main card, were pretty exciting fights.
yeah,
The co-main event was more of a domination, more of a clinic being put on by the champion, and then the main event, it's like we come to expect that from Adesanya now. You know, another him cruising to another victory, and it's not all his fault either. Jared Cannonier didn't put in much offense in that fight as well. So you know, on paper, it looked like a pretty stacked, exciting card, but I give it like a 7.
all right. What about this fight, Ricky? What fight did you give this one? Because this one was crazy. Right
Oh,
before this fight, we had I guess it was at the press conference before the event even happened, where we had Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland going back and forth at each other. Um, you know, I basically it's safe to say that the winner of this fight seemed to be the one getting the shot next at whoever wins at the main event between Adesanya and Cannonier.
yeah.
Strickland and Adesanya were jawing back and forth, but it's Alex Pereira, who's the guy you see standing over Sean Strickland, who he knocked out, who came out the victor, Ricky. And it's interesting to say this because he was also the one who knocked out the current champion Israel Adesanya during a
Glory,
kickboxing match.
yeah, and Glory Kickboxing. So
So I mean, here we are, man. A picture says a thousand words, right?
let me
What does
clear
this
my
tell
throat real
you?
quick. Yeah, man. Look, this fight. It's like I said. This was they put this the UFC put this fight perfectly because Sean Strickland, like I said at the time, was number 4 in the rankings. Pereira, he was unranked, and he had
Right.
only had like 2 fights in the UFC up until this point. He was coming from Glory Kickboxing. He was a former light heavyweight kickboxing champion twice in that promotion. And at that time when he was there, Adesanya was there fighting as well. He has 2 wins over Israel Adesanya. The first one being a decision, and then he knocked him out in the second fight.
Yeah.
And these guys have no love lost for each other, man. These guys do not like each other at all. I'm sure Adesanya is not happy that he that he's here in the UFC. He's gonna have to deal with this guy again. But here in this fight, man, Sean Strickland. he had the option of wanting to try to wrestle Pereira, and he decided not to. He decided to stand in front of him and try to box him, which ultimately proved to be a huge mistake on his part, man. Because Pereira came back with his patented left hook, knocked him down, and then as he was going down, got him with two rights and knocked him out, man.
Yep.
I mean, Strickland got up, but you saw his legs weren't there. He was out of it, and the referee stopped. It was a good stoppage by the referee.
Yep.
And this guy right here, man, I believe is the biggest threat to Israel Adesanya's place as the middleweight champion here in the UFC. And I mean, the UFC put this together because they want to put this fight together. They put this fight between him, Pereira and Strickland, because they want to match up with him and Israel Adesanya. Because Adesanya basically is cleaning out this division already, and he's clearly getting bored with the opposition that he's getting. So now his past caught up to him. It's coming back. Alex Pereira. I think this is it, man. I think his days are numbered as far as Israel Adesanya's reign as middleweight champion.
It's a good way of putting it. His past has caught up to him. That's exactly, you hit it right on the head. Exactly what the UFC is doing right now. The UFC knows that Israel Adesanya has been reigning supreme as the undisputed middleweight champion for a very long time, and they know that there's nobody on that roster, there's nobody in those rankings, nobody in that division that could touch him, other than the man who has, and
Yes,
that's Alex Pereira, or Pereira, I'm sorry, because this man he's already knocked out Israel Adesanya before. Not here in
yeah,
the UFC, as you say, it was a glory kickboxing, but he already
he's
knocked
beaten
out,
him twice. Yeah, and he's beaten him twice. He's beaten him by
beat him twice.
decision, and
So
he not.
so if you're UFC, if you're Dana White, why not? Right?
This is
You
it.
got it. You got him in the UFC now. You need a competitor. You need someone that's going to contain, or try to contend with someone like Israel Adesanya, and what a great storyline. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? What
yeah.
a great storyline there. So yeah, 100%, man. If that ends up being the case, Ricky, who do you have winning and why?
I will have to go with Alex Pereira, and I'm going to say, I mean, I stand by it. The reason I say this is because both guys are kickboxers.
Right.
Israel Adesanya is primarily a counter striker. All right, so I mean, this could be a pretty good stand-up fight between these two in the UFC. Now, Israel Adesanya is not known for his ground game. Now, if he was smart, he would. I'm pretty sure he would start working on. I mean, he would probably try to show Alex Pereira that this is a different sport now. This is not kickboxing. This is mixed martial arts.
Right.
So he would be wise to try to work on his ground game and try to take him down and try to keep him down there, try to submit him. But ultimately, I don't think that's what he's going to do. He's probably going to work on it, but I don't think it'll eventually end up standing again. And I think Alex Pereira will probably end up finishing him again because you got to think about it. He knocked out Adesanya with those what 10 ounce gloves in boxing,
Right.
which
So a
has
lot
a
thicker,
lot
a lot
more
more cushion,
a lot more
a
padding
lot,
than those
yeah,
gloves.
exactly, a lot more padding in those gloves than the ones they have here in the
Look
UFC.
at, yeah, 4 ounce. That's basically almost a fist. It's almost an open fist. These gloves in the UFC in MMA are. And look at how he just destroyed Strickland, man. I mean, when he connects with these punches, man, it's just instant lights out for these guys here in this company. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I got Alex Pereira, the early favorite to win this fight for me. When
Adesanya
this
knows how
happens,
that feels. He knows how that feels.
yeah, and he got knocked out with those 8, 10 ounce gloves in boxing, man. Just imagine getting hit by one of these 4 ounce gloves by this guy. This guy has some scary power, man. This guy is a scary dude.
He is a scary dude because even afterwards, he was just so calm. You didn't really see that much excitement. He just seemed like he knew it was going to happen.
A
The
silent
entire
killer, man.
time leading up to this fight, he was quiet. He was cool, collective, and that it has a lot to say because and in this sport, you have a lot of loud mouths, a lot of guys trying to sell the fight. But no, you could tell this man is here to fight and he's here to dominate, and that's exactly what he did against Sean Strickland. And Ricky, speaking of Sean Strickland, what happens here? You were ranked fourth. You were on the up and up and you just hit a roadblock, man, like, and it was a huge roadblock that just knocked you out. And Alex Pereira. So what do you do here? What does the UFC do with Sean Strickland?
I mean, you got to think too, man. This guy was on like a 6, 7 fight win streak up until this point. He was gonna be the next guy to fight Israel Adesanya
Yeah,
until they decided to hotshot Pereira up into this position. So yeah, that's a huge roadblock for him. I mean, I would have to say that for to bring him back up, he would have to fight a guy like possibly even just Jared Cannonier again. Probably fight him, I don't know what Paulo Costa's doing right now. I don't know if they booked him for a fight yet. I believe they are, but it probably got canceled or something. So or moved. But any one of those guys, man, somewhere in the top 5, top 6, put
Yeah.
him in there with him and try to rehab him and bring him back. And then and he has to work on his probably more on his ground game too. And he has it. There's the he's been pretty good at wrestling too. He does have that arsenal in his game. Yeah, but he decided to stand with Alex Pereira, and that was a big mistake.
100%. 100%. Um,
Yeah, because I know Robert Whitaker and Marvin Vittori are gonna fight. That's booked. Um, who else? Who else? Yeah, those guys are in there for sure. I don't know what Derek Bronson is doing. I'm not sure if he's booked for a fight yet. I mean, he has to fight someone in the top 5, top 6, somewhere around there because he's been bumped down, I believe, now to 7 from where he was at. So
yeah, he's gonna have to go down for sure and try to
yeah,
work his way back up. So, I mean, Strickland is a very talented fighter. I'm sure he'll get back up there. Like I said, this was a huge roadblock, one that nobody was expecting to happen, but it's happening, and it's gonna be a very exciting fight when it does come to fruition between Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira. But let's get on to the co-main event of the evening, Ricky. We had the end. I think an end of a trilogy between Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway. This was the third fight, and this was no different from the other two, as Volkanovski comes out victorious yet again. But he a lot more dominant in this fight than the last. Ricky, why was that?
man, I think he just reached to another level, man. I mean, this dude, this,
Yeah, basically.
Volkanovski is just yeah. I mean, look, it's similar to the first 2 fights in that he won. He comes out the victor. But in the last fight, in the second fight, man, it was so close that everybody argued that Max Holloway won that fight. So naturally, everybody was expecting this third fight to kind of go similar, to be close, be a very close fight that could go either way, and that was not the case, man. Volkanovski just went to another level and just pummeled Max Holloway throughout this fight. I
Yeah,
mean, it was not even close. It was almost to the point where like, holy shit, man, just stop this. I mean, even though Max Holloway was never really in trouble in this fight, I was like, man, just stop it. This dude is just getting beat up. He had a nasty gash over his eye, over I think it was his left eye, and yeah, man, it's just complete domination, complete clinic. He cemented himself as one of the top pound for pound fighters in the sport of mixed martial arts for sure. And now, after doing that, who's left for him in this division? I mean, just
okay, cool. Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. Um, it's starting to get in the UFC, Ricky, where you have all these fighters who are just over, like they're just dominating their divisions, and you're not really seeing much competition, and it's starting to seem that way again in this division because now it seems like, as you mentioned, it seems like Volkanovski just reached another level, and this guy, he's in his prime, deep in his prime, and
in
he's
his prime,
showing it as the featherweight champion. And it seems like he's not going away anytime soon.
and he still doesn't get the respect that he fully deserves either.
Yeah, I don't get that. Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure it's because he's fighting and he's beating up all these American fighters. He's from Australia. I don't know what it is, man. He's I don't think that's it. But I don't understand why he's not getting the kind of respect that he rightfully deserves because he's just mowing through these guys in his division. All the way to the point where at the end of the fight when he was interviewed by Joe Rogan, he was saying that he wants to fight. He wants to move up to 155 in the
Yeah,
lightweight division. He wants to be a double champ. I'm all for it, man, because there's a fresh new competition for him there. Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev, Dustin Poirier. Imagine that, man. Imagine those fights. Those would be exciting fights and true tests for him now because really, there's nobody in the division for him to fight. He's beaten Brian Ortega. He's beaten Max Holloway now 3 times. You know, I mean, what? There's Yair Rodriguez. There's Arnold Allen. I mean, Josh Emmett just won his fight, but I don't see him as a really as a true competition for Volkanovski at this point in his career now. So I guess the thing for him to do now is just try to move up to lightweight and try to go for that title too.
Yeah, and that might just be it, man. If that's the case, we're gonna have another double champ because I think he could do it. I think the man is that talented and that skilled to be a double champion in this division. Going
Think
into the main
so?
event, Ricky Israel Adesanya versus Cannonier. Not the fight. Well, not the fight we wanted, but it was the fight I think I expected. I kind of saw Israel clinically defeating Cannonier, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah. Before that, you saw his entrance. He came out as the Undertaker,
Yeah, yeah. He
coming
did
out
come
to
out
his
as Undertaker.
come on. Okay, he came out to his music. He had the hat. He had the urn. Walking slowly to the ring. They had the smoke and everything. And Vince McMahon, Stephanie, Triple H, Pat McAfee, Nick Khan was in the crowd too. Believe it or not.
Yep.
Like as soon as right after Money in the Bank, they went, because they were right there. They were literally next door to each other. The MGM Grand Arena and I forgot what the other ones, the Mandalay Bay. Just went straight to the UFC event in time for the, I guess, for the co-main event and the main event to watch this fight. But yeah. With that said, man, the entrance by Adesanya was the only thing I enjoyed about this fight. Honestly,
Yeah.
um, it was just another slow, not much action. Jared Cannonier was not really pulling the trigger. He wasn't doing much on the stand up, so we can't put the full blame on Adesanya. But at the same time, Adesanya, just did what he did enough. He did enough to win this fight on points. You know, he was accurate with his striking. He was landing jab after jab, right hand kicks. Jared Cannonier had his opportunity when he had Adesanya against the cage. He could have landed one of those big elbows that he's been known for, but he wasn't able to. He wasn't able to do that. Adesanya defended pretty well. Um, yeah. So now after watching Israel Adesanya cruise to another title defense, it has me more hyped and excited now to see him fight Alex Pereira now because he's not gonna be able to do that against that guy. Not
No, he's
not
not at all.
not a chance. No.
Not a chance. So that fight should be interesting. Well enough. Um, but yeah, I mean, it, that
As far as Cannonier with Mitchell, I mean, you know, him against Strickland, maybe. Strickland also was on his card loss. You can match those guys up, but we'll see, man. He's still number 2 in the rankings. He can still come back, but you know, he didn't do enough to try to win this fight, man. So
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. Ricky, it's time to get into the rankings, man, and let's do it. As you go into the rankings, I'm gonna go and help someone out real quick. So I'm gonna leave the floor to you. I'll be right back. But guys, let's get into the rankings as we have as it makes its first debut here on the Sports Drip Live podcast, and we're going into the heavyweight division today. Are we not?
We're going into the heavyweight division. We'll see what's going on there. A lot of fights are coming up.
Yeah. So let's
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 make
let's get
yeah, let's get into it.
let's get into it.
All right. So yeah,
Hold
we
on,
got a
real
lot.
quick. Hold on, real quick.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm trying to play this. That's right. Into the rankings, Ricky. Here we have the heavyweight division, heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou, and there's your rankings. Ricky, I allow you the space, and you can go ahead and let everybody know what's going on.
All right, man. We're gonna get right into this heavyweight division. We'll start with the champion, Francis Ngannou. A lot of speculation about him right now. We don't know what's he gonna do. His contract is up by the end of the year. Right now, he's had surgery on his right knee for a torn MCL and a damaged ACL. And he did give a recent interview with TMZ saying that he might be ready by the end of the year. But in all honesty, I think he's just out for the rest of the year. He's not going to fight until 2023. That's my opinion. But so and not to mention his contract situation right now with the UFC. Will he resign with the UFC or will he go into boxing to fight Tyson Fury? My prediction is I think he's going to eventually reach a deal with Dana White in the UFC to return to fight next year, 2023. He'll sign a brand new contract, probably get what he wants as far as money. He might even get a stipulation where he can actually go ahead and fight in boxing, possibly against Tyson Fury or anybody that he chooses to fight. We'll see what happens. You know, it's not like we never seen these things before. Even we've seen it with Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather while still employed with the UFC. Although yeah, I get it. Conor McGregor, Dana White, his favorite fighter, blah blah blah, whatever. But anyways, as far as Francis Ngannou, yeah, I don't think he's gonna fight for the rest of this year. I do believe there might be an interim title fight. Just it might be an interim title fight probably sometime, maybe I would say September, October, November, between two guys that I think they might match up, although we haven't heard any news yet. And we're talking about number two ranked Stipe Miocic, who hasn't fought since last year in March, losing his title to Francis Ngannou, being knocked out viciously by the champion, the current champion, I should say. And yeah, he's been MIA. He's also a part-time firefighter in his hometown in Ohio. So he's been pretty busy, but I'm not sure if he's been in the gym lately. I'm not sure what he's been doing as far as when it comes to preparing for another fight for a return to the octagon. But the rumors have actually been around for a while now, is they want to match him up with John Jones, the former light heavyweight champion, who hasn't fought in 2 years. He relinquished his light heavyweight title 2 years ago, and has expressed interest in fighting in the heavyweight division. And he's run into a lot of legal problems in the process, but at the same time, he has been in the gym. He's been working on trying to make a comeback in and make his debut in the heavyweight division. So no date has been set yet as far as when these two guys would fight. If they fight, I believe this fight will happen, but they are projecting possibly a late September, maybe early or mid October date for these two to finally meet and to finally see John Jones make his debut into the heavyweight division. He's been talking a lot of trash to Francis Ngannou. They've been going back and forth on Twitter. This is a fight that it seems like these two want, and it's a fight that myself, including a lot of mixed martial arts fans, want to see. So hopefully this comes to fruition, possibly in 2023. As far as who would win in a possible fight between Stipe and John, I have to give the early advantage to John. I think Stipe, he's considered the greatest heavyweight of all time. That's what he's been the champion for a long time. He's defended it. He's lost it, won it back. He's had that incredible trilogy with Daniel Cormier. At this stage in his career, he is reaching 40 years old. Um, especially after being knocked out by Francis Ngannou in his last fight. Uh, where's his motivation? Does he really want to come back and become champion again? Does he want to, where does he is he still hungry for it? Is what I'm trying to say. Is he still hungry? Does he still want to be champion again? Does he still want to still want to win fights? Does he even want to fight anymore? So, we'll see where his heart is when this fight actually is put together. But I would have to say John Jones is my early favorite to win that fight if and when that happens. Now, we also have the number one contender currently right now, Cyril Gane, who was the interim heavyweight champion. He's set to face Tai Tuivasa, who's number three in the rankings. They're gonna fight it September 3rd at a fight night. I believe they're the main event. That is an interesting fight right there because Cyril Gane, again, very dynamic striker, probably one of the lightest, quickest heavyweights that we've ever seen. Actually, the dude is very light in his feet, very quick, very accurate with his striking. He has power in his hands. He's not known for tremendous amount of power like Francis Ngannou, but he's finished fights and he could just overwhelm guys in there. And as far as Tai Tuivasa, Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa, I mean, just bombs in his hands, his elbows. He knocked out Derek Lewis with a short elbow, which at first didn't look very devastating, but when they put it back in the replay, you could just see Derek was just out and he just face planted the canvas after he got hit by that elbow. Tai Tuivasa made you know a big impact coming into that fight, and now shot up all the way to the third to number three in the rankings. So the way I see this fight, man, eh, I could see it possibly going the same way that Cyril Gane against Derek Lewis did. Just overwhelming. I mean, Tuivasa has a puncher's chance for sure, and he needs to close the distance. but that's very, very hard against a guy like Cyril Gane, who is always in and out, moving around, landing his kicks, landing his strikes, and then just hitting, touching and moving, touching and moving. But I could see it going the same way that it did with Derek Lewis. But if Tai Tuivasa is able to clinch, somehow able to clinch and land a short elbow, land a punch, the dude has absolute bombs in his hands, and he could finish Cyril. He could put him out. But I see Cyril Gane as the early favorite for winning this fight September 3rd. So
Do you think is that an interim championship fight, Ricky?
it's not. It's not. It's as far as I see right now. It's not. I think actually, what I said before this fight, I was talking about a potential fight between Stipe Miocic and John Jones,
Yeah.
and I think they might put that together probably September October. That I could see being an interim title fight.
Why?
If
Why is it? Why does John Jones, as soon as he comes back out of obscurity, right, out of him self sabotaging himself and his career, why does he automatically get an interim titles fight?
Because he's John Jones, that's the only thing I can think of, man. Because he's John Jones, he's undefeated in the light heavyweight division. I don't count that one loss, that one disqualification loss. He's never been beaten. He's undefeated. And then now he relinquished the title, moves into the heavyweight division. Yeah. I mean, I hear you. I hear you on that one. Yeah. Why should a guy like that get an immediate interim title match? But at the same time, he's one of the greatest of all time. He hasn't lost. He's never lost a fight, and he's coming in fighting against a former heavyweight champion in Stipe Miocic, who's number 2 in the rankings. And excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I don't see Cyril Gane fighting for another interim championship. He already did it. He became
Yeah.
interim champion, and then he lost to the heavyweight champion, Francis Ngannou. So I could see that match if they book it for September, October, somewhere around there. That could be an interim title fight between Stipe and John Jones.
Interesting, man. Interesting going into this division because I mean, you mentioned there's a lot of heavy hitters in this
Yeah,
division.
and I'm not
Tom
done yet.
Aspinall. I
Yeah,
know. Go
I'm not
ahead.
done. I was
Go
just
ahead.
I was just I was just gonna get into Tom Aspinall, man.
Yeah. Right. Right. We got it. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, Tom Aspinall's fighting Curtis Blades on the 23rd. It's a fight night, and Blades is number 4 in the rankings. Tom is a 6.
Yep.
This fight is also very interesting because these are two young guys coming up, trying to come up in this division. Curtis Blades has been there before, though. He has been there with Francis Ngannou. He's lost, so he's trying to make his way back. Tom Aspinall is really the guy is really up and coming. He's trying. He's trying to be one of the best in this division. He's trying to go for that title. So he beat Alexander Volkov in his last fight. Just dominated him. Just straight up dominated him in the fight. You know, striking, got him down, submitted him, and that was just a showcase for him. This right here is a bigger step up in competition for him, and I can see him winning this fight. As far as who wins this one on July 23rd, I can see Tom Aspinall winning, um, possibly by either decision or submission. I go back and forth on that one because Curtis Blades has power in his hands. He's also a good wrestler, but so is Tom Aspinall. So I think this will be a stand-up fight. Curtis Blades could potentially land a big right hand and could knock Tom Aspinall out, but I think Aspinall is the quicker striker, and I think he could probably outstrike Curtis Blades, and it could go to a decision win for Aspinall on this one.
Yeah. 100%, man.
Yeah, and
Um.
then
Go ahead.
so all the action is really in the top six. Derek Lewis
Right.
also has a fight with Sergey Pavlovich, who's number 11 in the rankings. I mean, for Derek Lewis, what can you say? He's the knockout king. 13 knockout wins. I see this being his 14th. To be honest, I don't see him losing this fight. I think he'll record his 14th knockout in this fight and try to make his way back up into contention because he hasn't he hasn't had the best of luck. He's been in the title picture twice and was never able to pull the trigger. So, but nonetheless, man, he's racking up these knockouts. So he's already etched in UFC history. So he'll be remembered. That's for sure.
Definitely will be remembered, Ricky. Anything else before we get out of the rankings?
Uh, yeah, man, this heavyweight division is a very interesting one to watch. As far as
Yeah.
like Francis Ngannou, like I said, when you weren't when you had to step off, I said that I think he will sign a new contract with the UFC. I think, but as far as this year, I think he's done. He is out because of a knee injury, torn MCL and ACL. He's still recovering from it. So I believe he's going to sign a new contract with the UFC. They might meet somewhere in the middle. He'll be back. I don't know if he's going to fight Tyson Fury in boxing. I'm not quite sure about that anymore. But
Yeah.
he'll definitely be back in 2023, and I think he'll fight either Stipe or John Jones whenever that fight's put together. The winner of that fight, we can expect to see Ngannou back in the main event.
Yeah, definitely need to see him back in the main event because the man is a monster. We know what he can do, standing up boxing, and we just saw what he can do in the ground game when he defeated Cyril Gane in his last fight for the
Yeah,
heavyweight championship, and all of those rumors of him going facing the Gypsy King Tyson Fury in a hybrid match. He's still UFC champion. That should be his main priority. I don't agree with him facing the winner between John Jones and Stipe Miocic. I think it should be Stipe Miocic and Tai Tuivasa fighting for that shot. I don't think John Jones deserves anything right now. He needs to work his way back up into the rankings. But I get it. I get star power. I get his name means a lot here in the UFC, especially because he dominated for so long. So it
yeah.
is what it is. But Francis Ngannou is the current reigning defending UFC heavyweight champion, and that is in the rankings with my brother Enrique. We will be doing this every week. Ricky, to tease the folks at home, what division are we doing next week?
Next week we will be going into the welterweight division.
Welter.
We're gonna be talking about Kamaru Usman. He has a fight coming up with Leon Edwards, and we'll see what's going on there because as far as what's going on in that division, not much is going on, man. Kamaru Usman is I mean, I see him winning against Leon Edwards, but then we still can't forget about Hamza Chimaev,
Yep.
who I believe could be the next guy in line after that. So we'll get into there. We'll get into there. We'll see what's going to happen with Kobe Covington. Is he going to be stuck in number one contender for the rest of his career? And what's going on with Jorge Masvidal? I mean, there's rumors of him between him and Gilbert Burns. They're trying to put together a fight between those two. And to be honest, where does Nate Diaz lie? What's the hold up with Nate Diaz? When is he gonna fight? Supposedly he has one fight left on his contract. Dana White, for some reason, doesn't want to put him in a fight either in lightweight or welterweight. So we'll speculate on what's next for Nate Diaz. But yeah, we'll go into the welterweight division. We'll see what's going on there.
Welterweight division where Kamaru Usman, just like Israel Adesanya, just like Francis Ngannou, just like Alexander Volkanovski, reign supreme in that division.
I
So
think I think
definitely,
Hamza Chimaev is the Alex Pereira
yeah,
of the welterweight division.
yeah, we got a contender. We'll definitely get into the welterweight division next week here on Sports Drip Live. But that's it for our MMA portion of this. Let's get into some more WWE aspect. Weekend Money in the Bank was this past. So was it? It was Saturday. This past Saturday, and here you have your two winners with Austin Theory winning the men's and Liv Morgan winning the women's. Now, Liv Morgan did cash her Money in the Bank in that same night, defeating and obtaining finally her first women's championship. So I think Ricky, I think we could debut our Be Creative um our Be Creative segment here, and we can figure out what WWE should do with these two going forward. So let's get
All
this
right.
off the screen. And let's hop into our spaceship, Ricky. Fly into the universe where you and I are the new. There you have it. Technical difficulties going all around, but there you. I had stopped. I
We
had
got
stopped
lost.
the
We got lost
notes.
in the universe somewhere there, man.
We got lost in the universe. But as you see, my brother and I we're gonna be the creative here in this wrestling portion of our show. So as I put up on the screen again, Ricky, we have the two winners. Liv Morgan is now the women's SmackDown champion, so we'll start there. Definitely something that she deserves, something that the fans, you and I, wanted for a very long time. They finally got it done. What do they do with her? Do you think she holds on to that title for a very long time? What would
I,
you do if you're WWE creative?
if I was WWE creative, I mean, kudos to giving her the Money in the Bank. Uh, Kudos to giving her the Money in the Bank victory, and then cashing in later on that night for winning. I mean, that's something I would have done because the fans had took into her. They love her. They love her character, and they wanted to see her succeed, and they finally did it. Now, what I would do going forward, her being I believe what the SmackDown Women's Champion now, just go on and have some great title defenses with the likes of well, I mean, who's on that roster really, man? I mean, I would have said Sasha Banks if she was there, but she's no longer there. I mean, the
No longer there.
returning Bailey. Bailey, here, look, Bailey has been gone for a while, right?
Yep.
So I see her coming back, and I can see a match between these two. I would book those two and book a long feud with those two. Like maybe like a three-match feud between the two. Bailey can come back and as the heel and say, "What? Why? How the hell did you become champion in my absence? You don't
Yep.
deserve it. You're soft. You're a cheerleader. You're emo or whatever the hell you are. This and that. Blah blah blah. I've been in this company. I've been in NXT for a long time. I've beaten women like Sasha, Charlotte, Becky, this and that. Blah blah blah. So I would definitely book a feud between those two. Bailey's pretty good on the mic. She could dig into Liv Morgan pretty good. Insulting her and putting her whatever. Like just hyping up their feud. I think Bailey's more than capable of doing that. And then
Okay.
Liv Morgan, and then Liv Morgan is the sympathetic baby face. Everybody's gonna be behind her. I can see Bailey actually winning. I would book Bailey actually winning the title in one of those matches, and then Liv Morgan chasing to get it right back, and then and
Really?
it, I
So
can
so
see
you
it
would you would you would so you would take the title away from her so soon?
not so soon, not so soon. Uh, I would put her in some matches before getting to Bailey,
Okay.
Like Natalia. I think she has a match coming up with Ronda Rousey too. I think in SummerSlam. I would book her to win that match too. So beating the likes of Natalia and Carmella, whoever else is on that is on whoever else is on that roster, give her a few title defenses, wins, big win over Ronda Rousey again, possibly by interference by either Bailey can
Or by
interfere, cause
Charlotte?
yeah, Charlotte. Oh, Charlotte. Yeah. Yep. And then booking her against Charlotte too. That's another one that I would book, but I would still you know
You would protect the star. So the way I would do it, right? I agree with you 100%. I think you're right on the money. Is you get Bailey somehow, some way, and back into the mix, right? Because she has been showing promos of her coming back, or at least not a promo, but on her social media page, she basically posted a video of her in back in the performance center in WWE. So
right.
she's slated to make a comeback very very soon. I too, just like you, Ricky, am very excited that Liv Morgan's finally the women's champion. I would definitely have her have a match between her and Ronda Rousey to kind of put claim that she is the champion. There's not going to be no rematch here. They go well. There's a rematch, but there's no way she's going to lose it back to Ronda.
Right.
She beats Ronda through disqualification from Charlotte, make it a
Or
feud between them two,
interference, yeah.
or yeah,
Interference.
interference. Either way, but Liv Morgan wins that match. Then you do another match with Charlotte, and the vice versa. You have Ronda Rousey comes back, and you know Liv Morgan wins through interference or disqualification, whatever you want to have it there, right? You protect all the superstars there, and then yeah, you give her solidified legit wins, maybe like over superstars like Dewdrop, someone like um, um, Natalia, stuff like that, or Zelina.
Natalia,
You know what I mean?
Carmella,
Like
Zelina,
matches
yeah,
like that. You
yeah,
let her pick up some steam. So finally, she hits that brick wall, and Bailey, who returns, you hand Bailey over the title, and then you have a feud with them going back and forth. I think that's 100% the way you go with this. That's the way you should go with this. There, you're creating stars. There, you're creating new rivalries.
yeah,
It's not the same old Charlotte and Sasha, Charlotte and Becky, Charlotte and Ronda. You know what I mean? It's not the same old Same old. Now you have feuds between Liv Morgan, Bailey. I think that could be definitely a great rivalry for a very long time. So
Yeah.
this is what WWE needed to do. I'm glad they did it. Um,
But let's
you
be
know,
realistic. Are they gonna go with that idea though? I don't think so.
no, I mean that's why we're being creative, right? We're giving them
Yeah.
we're giving them the ideas. So Stephanie, Vince, whoever the hell's running the company, if you're watching this show, you're welcome.
Yeah,
You're
right.
welcome, 100%.
Yeah,
Going into
whatever,
the men's
whatever,
side,
pal.
Ricky, Austin Theory. I was kind of surprised. I'm surprised, not surprised. Like for a while now, they've been teasing a match between him and John Cena on social media. Austin Theory's always calling him out, saying certain things. John Cena's responding, so that match is going to happen at SummerSlam.
Right.
Vince McMahon sees something in this guy. This company sees something in Austin Theory. If you're creative, if you're working for W Creative today, do you see something in him?
I do. I do actually.
Really?
Yeah, I see something, dude. He there I could see him. I mean, he's not the next John Cena, but he could
Right.
be somewhere close to it. I mean, he could definitely be a future babyface, a lot more than what they saw in Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, I never saw him as the top babyface in this company, like they were trying
Yeah.
to do for like 5, 6 years, 7 years, whatever it was. I always saw Roman Reigns as the top heel, a badass looking killer heel, and that's exactly what he is now. And he's where he should be. He's in that role. When he becomes a babyface, it'll be organically from the fans. But yeah, I do see something in Austin Theory. He's still early in his career, and they need to. I mean, they need to be careful with him too, man. To not ruin him by putting him in stupid storylines, not any having to say any stupid things out there, anything like that. But yeah, as long as they do right by him by the booking, he could be their next big star for sure. One of
All right.
the next big top star.
I love the way you said that. Do right by him by the booking. So Ricky, you're creative. What is a good booking for someone like Austin Theory? Where do you go now that he holds the Money in the Bank briefcase?
I'd say that I would have him hold it out for a while and just tease that he's gonna come after Roman Reigns,
Yeah.
right? Just tease it. But what I would do is I would hold it off until WrestleMania. Now I believe he's having a match with John Cena in SummerSlam,
Yeah.
right? I believe that's what's gonna happen. I would have him go over John Cena. I would have him beat John Cena in that match. Not have John because John Cena, he's gonna come and he's gonna leave. He's gonna go back to Hollywood. It
Right.
makes
Right.
no sense for John Cena to beat this guy,
He's gonna
right?
come do some promos, say a lot of disrespectful things to Austin Theory,
Right.
and then Austin Theory's gonna beat him
Yep.
cleanly in a match.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. So what I would do is okay. He beats John Cena. I would have Roman Reigns because he's the double champion right now. Roman Reigns. I would have him lose one of the title belts to Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
All right. So then now we have two champions again. Brock. We have Brock as whichever one he gets, and then Roman Reigns. Come WrestleMania, I would have Austin Theory face Roman Reigns. Better yet, not. Actually, you know what? This is tough, man. Because look, Brock Lesnar is the babyface, right? Roman Reigns is the heel. Austin
Right.
Theory right now is considered the heel,
He's considered a
and now
heel, so he'll have to turn before that
he'll
happens.
have to turn. Yeah,
You have plenty of time to do that.
you do. The thing is, how can we turn this guy? Because look, I also have Cody Rhodes
Easy,
in mind. I
easy.
also
The
have
thing
Cody
is,
Rhodes in mind right here. I have Rhodes in mind. I
exactly.
would actually would want to book a match between Cody Rhodes and Austin Theory at a future WrestleMania or something like that for a world title, and have Austin Theory beat Cody Rhodes to become the champion after Cody Rhodes had won it from Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar after some time. That's what I would ultimately try to get to right there. That would to get these titles off these guys already because Roman has been champion for the longest time.
Dominant
Brock
champion.
Brock 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 Lesnar has been the champion many times over the years, all for a long time.
Right.
I would want to get the belts off of these two guys already. These are two part timers now. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar are one and the same now. These guys are part timers. They're not. They're not there as long as anymore. I would want to
Right.
put the titles on Austin Theory and one on Cody Rhodes. So
It's a good
I
point.
guess I guess technically we would want to book either Cody Rhodes against Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes against Brock Lesnar, and then Austin Theory against either Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar.
All right. So then here we go. Right. I
Right.
think it's. I think it's been. There's been rumor that Cody Rhodes, by the time he comes back from injury, after 9 months or so, it falls right into Royal Rumble. Right. So he'll be back around Royal Rumble. That's where he makes his debut to win the Royal Rumble. I personally think there you have to put him in a match between him and Roman Reigns. I think it's the best booking, unless you have The Rock coming in to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Unless that happens, Cody
Yeah.
Rhodes has to be the guy, because because the way the problem about Roman Reigns right now is that they had him already dominate everybody, everybody.
Yeah.
He has been almost everybody already, and they dominated. Like, his next feud was supposed to be against Randy Orton. Randy Orton gets hurt, but you know damn well they were gonna have Roman Reigns win, because that's
Yeah.
who they're trying to book him as, to be the guy that nobody can beat, right? And I thought they were going to do it all the way up until The Rock finally comes, and then he beats The Rock, and then from there, I don't know what happens, right? But it's Missing
Yeah.
Man, and that's figured. You figure that, same thing, right? Now that Roman Reigns is a part timer, Randy Orton is hurt. You don't know what you're going to get, if The Rock's going to come back or not. I agree with you 100%. You want the belts, one on Theory, one on Cody.
Yeah.
Cody has the momentum, though, because he's a new guy, the new guy who used to be the ex old guy who always promised his dad to be champion. That's the story you have to go with the rest of me. There's no better storyline than him finally winning the title, promising his dad before his dad passed away that he was going to be a champion. And for that happening at WrestleMania, defeating Goliath and Roman Reigns, who's been dominant every single time he's been in a match,
Yeah.
that right there is the storyline you got to go with. You have Cody Rhodes come back at Royal Rumble, win the Royal Rumble, defeat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania to finally fulfill the promise he gave his dad on his deathbed at the biggest stage of all. That's where you go. Now, I do agree with what you said in getting the Brock Lesnar the title off of Roman, at least one of them,
One of them. Yeah.
right? You do that, then you got, and same thing. It has to happen at WrestleMania, where Austin Theory, Brock Lesnar, almost another David versus Goliath matchup. No one's gonna give Austin Theory
A
the
chance.
the chance, right? But
Yeah.
it's almost like an
He's.
Eddie versus Brock Lesnar kind of thing. You know
But
what I
here's
mean?
the
Nobody
thing.
gave Eddie a shot.
But here's the thing. Brock Lesnar is the babyface. So then that means Austin Theory is going to come in as the heel.
That's fine.
He's gonna
But,
have
but
to. He's gonna have to figure out a way to beat Brock, probably by some kind of interference, some kind of something
yeah,
to try.
and I think that's fine. And I think the fans are gonna go over. It's gonna go over with the fans, because just him beating John Cena alone is gonna go over. The fans are tired of
But
John Cena, like they're tired of everybody else,
yeah, I mean,
right?
yeah, but yeah, that's John Cena. But Brock Lesnar, yeah, you're gonna have to do something very dastardly to try to beat that guy. You gotta get. I mean, he's gonna have to form some kind of alliance or some kind of feud that Brock Lesnar ends up getting into after he loses. Like, I don't know, somebody
Or yeah,
interferes.
yeah, or he cheats somehow, some way. But
Yeah,
that's the way you go. That way you still have a heel champion and a babyface champion. You keep Cody as babyface, defeating Roman Reigns. You continue to have Theory be the heel that everybody loves.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And then defeat someone like Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I think that's good booking.
yeah. That's what should happen. We should see that. Get these belts finally off these guys already, and then put them on. I would say Cody Rhodes is the present, and Austin Theory is the future,
hundred
as
percent.
far as as far as his company.
There you go. See? Hire us. AEW, WWE, hire us today. We are the future here. That is the Be Creative segment um, here on JCA Sports. Unsponsored, by the way, guys. So if you want to sponsor us, let us know. Slide into my DMs, on Instagram or on Facebook, and we can make that happen. But yeah, I mean, definitely, definitely exciting stuff. I'm glad that these two seem to be the future here in the company. Let's just hope they do right by him, as you said before, Ricky. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because we're still talking about Vince McMahon still in power, no
Yeah,
matter what's going on. So whatever he wants is what's going to happen. So I mean, we can put out these ideas, and that's what we want to see, but that's not necessarily what we might end up seeing. So you know,
yeah,
it's good to it's good to dream, I guess.
definitely good to dream. Let me get into the next topic, Ricky, which is Blood and Guts last Wednesday. Pretty exciting stuff, man. You know, AEW reminds me of WWE back in the day, WWF. Back in the day, you would have matches like cage matches. You would have all these crazy, glorified matches at during the week at the regular shows. You don't always
Yeah.
have to go to a pay per view and pay for it or to see it there. And I'm glad AEW has done stuff like that because it makes like you gotta you're putting product out. You got to make it watchable
Yeah, and it's truly the alternative because you don't see this kind of stuff in WWE anymore.
at
You don't
all.
see blood, you don't see guts, you don't see cage match. I mean, you see Hell in a Cell, but it's just so watered down to me
It's
now.
so watered down.
So watered down.
This is what Hell in a Cell should be, basically.
Yeah, so watered down. And same thing with the cage matches. So, when you're in a cage match, obviously you expect to see blood, you expect to be a lot of physicality, a lot of crazy stunts, stuff like that.
They do
You
the
know,
same
it,
thing over and over. The biggest spot you'll see in a WWE from like a cage match is if someone jumping from the top. That's pretty much it.
yeah, that's
If
pretty
they
much
do
it.
it, they
Yeah,
don't normally do it.
yeah. You could bet if Shane McMahon's in that match, he'll do it.
Right. But that we love to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But you don't get much of that anymore.
no, no. But I will say one thing about AEW that they should tone it down a little bit because it feels like we see this shit every week. You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
agree. That I
So
agree with.
try to tone it down a little bit, make it special when it actually happens. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Don't
100%.
turn it into a full blown ECW. You know,
That is true.
which was great. Which was great. I love
But
the
you
ECW,
no, you're right.
yeah,
That is true because it wasn't it a couple weeks ago they had like a crazy match similar to this.
they had barbed wire. I mean, look,
Yeah,
Eddie Kingston just challenged Jericho next week to a barbed wire match
that's what
or
I'm
something like that.
saying. Like what it's almost the same thing. Like you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
guys just had a match at the it was a pay per view. The pay per view we ordered. It was at the like, when they had all those when they had the big match between everybody. It was almost the same. This time you just add a basically a longer, bigger Hell in a Cell. And
yeah,
don't get me wrong, it was great. It was very entertaining to watch. But I agree with you 100%. You gotta make us want it. You know what I mean? If we're getting it constantly every week,
yeah. It'll
then
start to get like okay, another.
right,
It'll start to get boring a little. I mean, it's
right,
not gonna be boring, but then it's gonna be like, oh, you're not gonna look forward to it as much.
exactly,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? So they do need to tone it down a little bit. But other than that, yeah, this is a very entertaining match. Unfortunately, I think Santana got hurt in this match.
Yeah,
He was going for a rock bottom or a uranage, whatever it's called, and then his knee buckled and looked like he's gonna be out for a long time. It might be an ACL tear. So that sucks. That's tough to see. Um, and hopefully he'll be back soon. But yeah, that other than that, that's pretty much like the only major injury in that match that happened. Everything else was just like crazy, the shit that you would expect from a blood and
right.
guts war games match.
No, 100%, man. It was great to see, great to watch. I love the Sammy Guevara spot where he kind of flew off
You knew it
into
was happening. That
right,
guy is batshit crazy, man. You know he was
dude.
in the
Very reminiscent of the Undertaker doing that to Mankind off their Hell in a Cell match. So it was good to see. It was definitely good to see. That guy is crazy, but very entertaining. One of the rising stars. I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of Sammy Guevara for sure.
yeah.
And I hope you guys are a huge fan of us here on Sports Live. Yes, we had technical difficulties. Yes, we had some issues, but overall, I thought it was a great show. This
We
the
got it
what you
done. We got it. We stuck with it. We got it done. That's what
exactly
matters, man.
exactly. We
Just
stuck
like
with it.
in
We
just
got
like
it
in life.
done.
Just like in
And you
life.
and besides the technical difficulties, what you've seen today, you'll start to see more of, graphics. We'll put up visuals for you guys, and we'll get into a whole bunch of fun segments like Be Creative, like Into the Rankings, and much, much, much more. So thank you guys for watching Sports Drip Live. We've been here for an hour. We appreciate you all. We'll be back Wednesday where we'll talk a plethora of more of new topics with WWE, AEW, and UFC, Bellator, and boxing. So, Ricky, before we leave, anything you want to say to the folks at home?
Thanks for sticking with us, guys. We had some technical difficulties, but like I said, man, as long as you stick by it, you get it done. So if you stuck with us, man, thanks a lot for supporting us.
Yeah, absolutely. Our show will be put on Spotify, on Anchor. You can continuously to see us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, where our episodes play on and on and on again. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, everybody, for watching. My name's Jose Contreras from my older brother, Ricky Contreras. This is Sports Drip Live, and we will see you guys on Wednesday.